this happened, and then there was an underdog, and then he got lifted up, and then his people were surrounding him, and then life was good.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More with Raley and Matt. It is time for our November movie review, and we are talking about Newsies today. So we are talking about both the 1992 movie starring Christian Bale and the 2016 recorded Broadway version starring Jeremy Jordan. So before we get into all of that,
just FYI,
well, it was recorded in 2016, came out 2017. So technically, we're both right. So we can start out on a happy note. But before we get into that, Rayleigh,
Yes.
How are you? Besides trying to call me out right to start the podcast and get us off on that foot. Besides that, how are you?
Well, it wouldn't be this podcast if I wasn't arguing with you about something. I am good. I'm trying out the hat thing. I don't know. I'm gonna need to know if this is like a really stupid look for me or if this is a thing that I should do. But I don't know. You're wearing yours forward, so I'm wearing mine backwards in rebellion. I'm good. I am it's late here, and it's actually later than late because it's 2:24 a.m. But today, when we are recording this, is also time change day, daylight savings. Because everybody wants to still do that, so let's keep doing it.
Yeah. And no, everyone doesn't want to, and for some reason we're still doing it.
The point I'm making, that was called sarcasm.
Sorry.
Don't know if you know about it, but
sorry.
It's actually in my brain, in my biological clock, it is now 3:25 a.m. So it's late. But I'm good. I got my rum and my Coke. Got my friend Matt here. Got Newsies to talk about. Life is good. Got a backwards hat. Still not loving it. Life is good.
I think it's throwing it back to, I feel like you did backwards hat like one of our first episodes.
I think I did.
Throwing it back. All of you go watch all our previous ones if you haven't already.
Yes.
Go find out.
Do it.
And let us know in the comments which one it is. Okay. Yeah. I can't talk. She doesn't have her headphones on.
Yeah, now tell me.
I like backwards better, personally.
You don't like this brazen Miami Beach scene up here?
No, it's really fine. You can pull it off too, but the backwards.
Yeah, I think backwards is better.
Would be my vote. I
think, okay. I agree. All right, enough about me.
Now I'm just talking.
After I put my headphones on, let's talk
about other stuff. So we're not listening to. Yes. So yeah, with the daylight savings, I was up at 5 this morning and couldn't go back to sleep because my body thought it was 6. Like I can never sleep in general, anyways.
Really?
Like I'm always, even if I'm up till like 2:00. So Thursday night, went out and we did trivia with coworkers.
Or you could just keep talking.
God damn it!
Sorry. Okay. Enough about the hat, please.
Okay. Thursday night went out and did trivia with coworkers until like 11, and then Friday night drove an hour to do Top Golf with some friends. Actually, I have friends that live in Miami now. They were back in town for a wedding, so met up with them.
Hello, you have friends in Miami that you didn't tell me about?
Well, they just moved there like a year ago, so we haven't gone down to visit them yet. So it's not like a bail not avoiding you. And so we were there until like 11:30, so got home at like 12:30 and stuff, and then I was up at 6 the next morning and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I'm here, you are here, and it's time to talk Newsies.
It is indeed.
So,
and we won't go on and on about why daylight savings time is stupid.
No, I thought they passed something that we were going to do away with it.
They did, but they didn't.
Something, but then not another thing.
But it didn't happen. Yeah, it was like going to happen, but then they were like, sorry, wrong.
Psych.
Or at least not yet.
Like, I'm torn on it because I
have a problem. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I like where it's not still pitch black when I wake up in the morning and start my day. But I hate that it gets dark at like 5 o'clock at night now.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's a
for me,
trade-off.
there is
I
no
don't know.
world in which I want to exist when I the time I am done working, it's dark outside. Like that
Yeah, that's fair.
that's depressing as hell. Let's be real. And if
Yeah.
you're someone like me who already suffers from like seasonal depression, which is why I moved to Florida, where I could be in the
Hmm.
sunshine all year round, even still at 5 o'clock, 5:30 is dark. I'm like, this sucks, dude. Like my life is just work and then darkness. Literally, work and
Yeah.
darkness. Nobody should live like that. Why don't we
Yep.
stop doing that to us? Stop. For what reason? Do we have a legitimate reason to do it anymore? No, we do not. Other countries do it? No, they do not.
Hmm.
They're doing just fine without it. Why we got to
Certain
trick
states
ourselves
don't do
into
it.
like,
Arizona
oh,
doesn't
it's
do it,
just air.
right?
Yeah, my brother lives in Phoenix, and he's like, I don't. We just it doesn't happen here. Like amazing. So the
Hmm.
world continues to turn, and everybody's
Hmm.
fine if you don't roll your
Yeah.
clock back. Amazing.
Yeah.
How that works out.
Shocking.
Anyway, that
Shocking
is
how
not the
that
point of this
works.
podcast episode, but it happens to
Nope.
be on our minds because that is when we're recording it, and it's currently happening to
Correct.
us. So
Correct.
let's talk Newsies. Matt, you want to
Let's
give us a
talk
little like
newsies.
intro
Yeah.
to Newsies? Little Matt's the one
Yeah.
who recommended that we do an
I
episode on
did.
Newsies. So
It was
I would
my
like to
my
hear if you want
pick
to
on
give
the
a
list.
synopsis or if you want to give a little like
Yeah.
rundown.
I'm gonna do a little bit of history rundown and a little bit of movie synopsis for both of them. The synopsis is essentially the same for both movies. They are very similar, um, with some changes in the coming to the Broadway one, throwing in some more musical numbers, which we'll talk about as we go on. But Newsies is based on the true story of the newsboy strike of 1899. The actual strike lasted from July 20th to August 2nd. It was basically the newsies, the ones who sell the papes, the
Sell the
newspapers
papes, kid.
back in the day, um, went on strike against the big newspapers, Mr. Joseph Pulitzer and William Hearst, and the other newspapers that were trying to basically increase their profits by charging the newsies more money for the newspapers. And they were just these kids that are being taken advantage of because they didn't really have any say. So the newsies were trying to get their say, stand up to the newspapers. Fun fact, the movies follow Jack Kelly. In the 92 movie, they call him Cowboy because he wears a cowboy hat at one point. And in the Broadway one, Cowboy is no Mas Cowboy. He's not Cowboy. He's just Jack Kelly. He's the main one, the ringleader of it. Other key players are Davy and Les, two brothers, Les younger one, that come on to kind of right as everything's coming to a head. Jack takes him under his wing, and then they band together to form the Newsboy Union and strike against the newspapers. So that's the setup for the movies. Historical
It's a David
bunny
and
trail
Goliath story,
fact.
people. David and
Hmm.
Goliath.
And it's really on the nose that one of them was named David. So,
True. True.
but the real leader of the strike was this comes straight from Wikipedia, so I'm citing it
Well,
from
the
there.
source of all knowledge.
Um,
It's got
the
to be
leader
true.
of the strike was a one-eyed young man named
Shut up.
Louis Belletti
Shut
that
up.
was nicknamed Kid Blink, who spoke with a heavy Brooklyn accent that was
Cute.
often phonetically transcribed when he was quoted by newspapers. Apparently, that's how they
In
know he
other
spoke
words,
with a heavy
they
Brooklyn
quoted
accent.
him to sound exactly the way he sounded. Interesting
Yes.
choice.
Yes.
They wanted him.
Um,
I don't know. Okay. Hmm.
yeah. So
So there was no Jack
uh,
Kelly, is what you're telling me.
there was no
That's
Jack
not a real
Kelly.
person, but
Jack
the
Kelly is
story
like
is
an
true.
amalgamation. Correct. Jack Kelly is essentially an amalgamation of that Kid Blink and someone else, Morris Cohen. They were the inspirations for Jack Kelly, apparently. So,
Okay.
and the actual strike ended, spoiler alert, much like it did here, where the World and the Journal agreed that they would buy back the unsold copies of the newspapers that the Newsies weren't able to sell. Because before it was you had to pay for your newspapers at the beginning of the day. Whatever you didn't sell, tough shit. Use them as toilet
Eat
paper.
it. Yeah.
So uh, this I my history with this musical. I saw the Broadway one first. I had not seen the 1992 version, which I'm kind of surprised, because my family, like, we watched Disney musicals and stuff a lot growing up. So I'm kind of surprised this was never on our radar. I never watched this growing up. Um, but I saw the Broadway one first, partially because I saw it had Jeremy Jordan in it, and so I watched it and I really liked it. And so then I went and I had a friend who had watched the 92 version, with Christian Bale, and they told me about that, and so I went back and watched that one. We'll get into it more as we talk about it, but that's my history. Had you watched either of these before this week?
I had not, and I
Okay.
actually had zero knowledge of the story, which is also shocking for me because this is a very family friendly show.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple of like rough 'em up scenes, but it's very theatrical and not at all violent. And
Right.
there's zero cursing. I think in the
Mm-hmm.
movie, in the 2016-17 version, she says bullshit at some point, but that's like it. Maybe they say shit a couple of
Yeah.
times, but like that's it. So it's a very family
Yeah.
friendly
It's
show,
very
which I'm
mild.
shocked that it wasn't on my radar. But then again, back in the day, I was really only allowed to watch cartoons. Any Disney movie that was a
Mm-hmm.
cartoon was acceptable, and or anything
Mm-hmm.
Christian related. So if it didn't
Mm-hmm.
fall in those two
Veggie Tales.
categories, VeggieTales is the perfect like crossover.
If
If there's a
Veggie
Venn
Tales did
diagram,
Newsies, you
there's
would
a
have been
Venn
able to see it.
diagram of Christianity related things I was able to watch and cartoon things I was able to watch, and then the overlap is VeggieTales. And I
Fair.
watched a lot of VeggieTales because it was just like the only variety I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I didn't watch any of it and I actually didn't know the story at all. All I knew going into it was it's about kids in New York who sold peepas. They were the extra, extra,
Mm-hmm.
read all about it. That's all I knew is it's just about those kids. I had no idea what to expect. I
Mm-hmm.
also I did not look up who was in what, who's starring in what, it was a complete and total surprise to me. The story, the cast, the songs, never heard any of the songs. It was a complete fresh experience for me for both of them. I watched them both kind of back to back, one day and the other the next day, and so I got a good idea of like the differences between the two because I saw them back to back. But I have many opinions. I have many
Which
opinions.
one? Which one did you watch first? Did you watch the 92 version
I
first?
decided to
Or
go in
the
chronological
okay.
order. I watched the 90s version first because I felt like I needed the, I don't know, quote unquote original. It's not probably not
Yeah.
the original at all, but because it was on, sure, it was a show before it was a movie, but this is the only version. Like, what do you mean? No, it wasn't a show
It
before they
was the
made it into a
movie
movie.
first. Mm-mm.
The movie
Nope.
is the original
The
story, and
movie's
they
the original.
made a musical
And
play out
then
of it.
in 2011, so yeah, it was the movie first
Ew.
based on the story, and then in 2011 is when it premiered on, when the play came out, and Jeremy
I
Jordan
find that
played Jack in
very
2011.
shocking because
Mm-hmm.
the movie is shot in a way that like
Yeah.
you feel like
Well,
it was shot to be a movie version of a Broadway play or
it's
off Broadway, whatever.
directed by Kenny Ortega, who
Yeah,
did the High School Musical movies and that type of
which you
stuff
can see
too.
the
So
similarities in
he
that. It's very cheesy and
right.
very like over the top, which also makes me feel like a play. Like that's why I almost felt
Yeah.
like, oh, this was adapted from play version to this. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess I was wrong. But chronologically, this is the way that I watched it. I watched the
Yeah.
older version and then the newer version. And I
Mm-hmm.
gotta say, no surprise here, but the newer version for me is way better. Way better.
I I think there's some things in it that are unfair. Like, I agree, because partially Jeremy Jordan has a stronger singing voice than Christian Bale. Like,
Right.
Christian Bale does really good for
I had
what
no
it
idea
is.
Christian Bale could even sing at all.
I didn't either.
Didn't know he was going to be in the movie. So when the movie started, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is cute. Wait a minute. Wait,
It's Batman.
wait a minute. Is that?
It's
No,
Batman.
it isn't. Is it? But they're going to sing in this, isn't? Oh my god, it is Christian Bale." And then he started singing. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Okay." First of all, he looks
Mm-hmm.
really young. It's the '90s. Definitely
Yep.
older than the rest of the kids in that movie, but he looks young. Then he started singing, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like this. He's one of those legit actors who actually knows how to sing too, and just doesn't make it his career all about singing. He's been an actor
Yeah.
before anything else.
Superheroes can do that. Like Andrew Garfield. He played Spider-Man, and then he played Jonathan Larson.
Sucks, man. Sucks for the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Kendrick surprised me too. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No clue. When she opened her mouth, I was like, damn it. This woman is perfect in every way.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like
Son of
that.
a
I
bitch.
didn't know most of those actors could sing, and I didn't know, like,
Yeah.
what's her name? Kristen Bell. I saw
Yep.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall first, and I was like, oh, she's a regular actor. And then found out she was
Yep.
in Frozen. I was like, the fuck? This woman can sing, like, for
Yep.
real sing. I guess they all
Yeah.
like train like that way, but anyway, it was shocking to me and it
Yeah.
shouldn't have
It's
been, but it was.
impressive.
And he did a good job. Christian Bale did a great job. He has always been a good
Yep.
actor, even back in the '90s. He was a good
Did.
actor. It is cheesy, but it's also the '90s, so you have to forgive it
Mm-hmm.
somewhat for the cheesiness. It's supposed to be like
Well,
an
and it's
over the top
a story
musical.
set in 1899. So like it's an even older story. So like
Listen, kid,
that time, yeah, you're
don't
gonna
you
have
know we're gonna go
some
and sell
cheese in there.
pigs?
Well, that was
That was sounding like more like
Canadian.
Minnesota. I was
Yeah,
trying
or
to New York, and I
yeah,
was trying to go to New
Minnesota
York, and it just
Canadian.
completely came out like Minnesota or Wisconsin, and just
Yep.
didn't work. Tried
Yeah.
it.
So
Continue. So yeah, what's his name? Jeremy Jordan is a way more
yep.
compelling Jack Kelly than
Now, it's an
what's his name?
important question. Who has a better New York newsy accent, do you think? I'm using better
Uh,
loosely because I don't
yeah,
think
because
either one is
they're
particularly
both
great.
pretty bad. I don't know. I think maybe the way it's shot doesn't help either because the way it was directed, it matters. It matters how many close-ups you get of their
Hmm.
face, how much you hear them. I think in the '90s, that version, the style is very much like far away, and that was the style of any
Yeah.
shot. I think, especially a musical, you were going to get a back away shot, like the whole scene. You're going to see the whole
Yeah.
ensemble. You might not get a lot of close-ups, so you don't get a lot of really good audio either. You're not going to hear them like as loudly as
Hmm.
clearly. And I think that the songs that were chosen for it just were kind of more mellow than the onstage version. They're just way more
Hmm.
vibrant. So it's easy to say that he's more compelling. Jeremy Jordan's more compelling and he's more like
Yeah.
engaging. But I think part of it is the style too. You can't say
Yeah.
one is a better actor than the other,
Yeah.
but one is
They put.
more like likable, I guess.
Yeah, they punch up the
Likable is not the
arrangements
right
in the
one.
newer version. Like you can tell that it's evolved
Yeah.
some. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the songs are the same.
Modernized it a
Like
lot.
there's no songs that are in the 1992 movie that aren't in the Broadway version. Like all of those songs are the same.
Are
There's
all
some
of them the
lyrical
same?
changes.
No, because
There's
the
some new ones in the Broadway
Metas
one.
one is not in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The doodly
Okay.
doo
The
one, the levy
meta
doodly.
song is different. Okay. Yep. Meta song is the only one that's changed.
I don't like
This is
her
bad.
new
I
one. The
wasn't
new one.
including that as one of the main ones. Um,
That's a song in there.
but yes, it is a song in there. So you're right. That is the only one that is changed. That's in the old one and new.
Yeah.
They switched meta songs around because in the first one, oh, I think I have it in my notes because I called it out. Oh yeah,
She
it's My
does the
Lovey Dovey Baby
lovey
is what it's
dovey
called
something or
in the
other.
1992 one. And then it's
So
replaced with She Sings That's Rich in the new
perhaps it
one.
was felt to be a bit too sexual to be portrayed before children's
Perhaps.
eyes. And I get that. She is also a burlesque dancer. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
territory. Mhm. But I hated
Yeah.
the meta version for the newer one. I thought her song "That's
Yeah.
Rich" was just like terrible. But yeah,
It wasn't. Yeah.
Ugh.
The meta song, was a filler that I feel like it could have done without both
Yeah,
versions of
it
it,
was. Yeah.
honestly. Like even in the 92 one,
It felt
um
like they were just trying
like
to put
it's
women in. They were like, here's a woman singing a song because we have every other character in this show is a dude. Here's a female
yeah,
character.
right. But you had David and Les's, so that's another difference. In the 92 movie, it's David and Les's sister, I believe her name was Sarah,
Sarah,
that
yeah.
that Jack has a thing for, and has kind of a, yeah, no,
Mild
they kind of have a
romance.
relationship, a crush on her,
Yeah. It's
um and
very mild.
everything. And then in the Broadway one, they kind of flesh it out more. They make the newspaper reporter that was played by Bill Pullman in the 92 version.
Also
It
shocked
is
by that cast member.
mhm. And Robert Duvall as Pulitzer in
Yeah.
the original
Shocked
one.
by that one too.
Uh-huh. But yeah, and so then in the Broadway one, they make the reporter that kind of follows Jack in the strike is a lady, who ends up being,
His love
we talk
interest.
about spoilers on here. I'm going to stop saying spoiler alert.
Yeah, we
His
yeah.
love interest, and you find out it's Pulitzer's daughter. So I liked that dynamic that they added to the Broadway one. I
Yeah.
liked their songs
Mm-hmm.
that were added in there a lot. I thought it added another layer in depth because I didn't give a shit about Jack and Sarah in the original
No.
one. Like
Well,
it's
she's
just a
barely in
throwaway
it. She
thing.
has like a couple
Right.
of short scenes. She doesn't sing really at all. She has a couple of like little like shy giggles and like looks
Yeah, it's
and
only
like
kind of,
one conversation, and that's really it. And
she
then
ends up being kind of the
supposedly she's
catalyst
so
for,
sad that he's leaving. Like you've had like 30
yeah.
seconds with him. Why who I feel nothing for this.
Yeah.
But it was way more developed in
Yeah.
the 2017 version. So you have a lot more time with these two characters getting to know each other and like falling in
Mhm.
love, which is makes the story better to me. I got to be honest, I don't love the music in this. I don't love
Really?
any of the songs. There's a few songs that I
Mm.
would listen to every now and then, but like Seize the Day has been in my stuck in my head all
Yeah.
day and night.
It's
Seize
on my
the
poster.
day. I think it's because oh yeah. I think it's because it sounds to me a lot like the what's the march in Les Mis at the end? When they do like
Do
the
you hear the
hear
people
the
sing?
people
That one?
sing. It sounds very like inspiring, like let's go to war kind of. And I think that's the only reason that it's been stuck in my head because it sounds like and they're
Hmm.
all just like all pumped up about it. That's been stuck in my head. I would listen to that song every now and then. Besides that,
Yeah.
I felt pretty much nothing for any of the songs. Like let me check. Hold
Really?
on, because I did write down one. The King of New York, when it's Bill Pullman singing and Get with the Dude with the little guys, I was like, this is creepy as hell. I don't want to see it because it's a grown
Yeah.
man and he's like being really lovey-dovey with a bunch of like 12-year-old boys. And those actors, those kids that were playing in that show in that movie were actually boys. They were little boys. 15,
Mm-hmm.
16 maybe, but portrayed as like 11-year-olds. In the
Yeah.
play, they made them older. They made them like, I don't know, 18, 19-year
Yeah.
old kids. So they're kids, but they're not really kids. In the movie, watching Bill Pullman be like chummy with a bunch of 11-year-old little boys was super weird for me. And it was just like
That's fair.
skin crawling. I don't like it. And I got a whole history with Bill Pullman, whole thing to say about him.
Oh, yeah?
But I'm not shocked that his character became a woman in the modernized version. My dad always says every he has a few people that he will always say something about. If you mention their name, he has like something he's got to say about them. So Bill Pullman, anytime anybody brings up Bill Pullman, he's like, "God, that guy's a pansy. That guy's a pansy." Why, Dad? Ah, he's just a pansy. Oh, you've seen him in a couple of rom coms, right? He was in like
Mm.
While You Were Sleeping and Sleep Is in Seattle, and he's always playing the like really like subservient character. He's never like the dominant male. And so
Okay.
in my dad's eyes, that means he's a
Mm.
pansy because he's not a man's man.
Ah, of
And he
course.
hated him in Independence Day because he said no president would ever be that pansy-ish. He's a bad president. So
Yes.
understand that growing up in my house means that Bill Pullman equals Pansy. Like
Maybe
that's
that's why
just
you never saw it.
my brain. Probably, maybe so. No, no. I don't think my dad even cared enough to prevent me from seeing Bill Pullman movies. If they happened upon his TV, he complained about them, but he didn't go out looking for it, like how to escape them. Anyway, when I saw
Fair.
Bill Pullman show up randomly in this movie, because I wasn't expecting that, I was like, okay, what? And then he was very Bill Pullman in the movie. He's exactly the same character he always plays, just a
Yep.
chummy dude with a generally good attitude, but not really that remarkable. And then in the play, he's completely replaced with a woman. It's like, that's right. That's about right. No, should
Yeah.
be a girl there. Should be a woman there. A strong female character is lacking in that first movie, in the 90s
Yeah.
movie. Like, where are the women? Even my 4-year old said something about it. I had it on TV and I was watching it and he was playing. He's like, are there only boys singing in this show? If my 4-year old notices, it's a thing. He
Fair.
was looking for the girls. He's not old enough to care about girls, and he was looking for the girls. So yeah.
Fair.
But I did think that the story between Jack and the reporter as a woman was way more interesting and more dynamic. Way more. Plus, she got to sing, and she was part of the show. She was part of it. She had a weird twist, plot
Mm-hmm.
twist. Oh, she's the bad guy's daughter. Ooh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
See, they
I
modernized it. They made it more interesting.
And the other changes, so things they took out from the 92 movie, there's a whole thing that Jack's telling Davy and Les that his parents are looking for a place for them to stay in Santa Fe. So that's where Santa Fe comes in there. So that's why the lyrics of that song are slightly changed.
What
Because
is
he's
it
saying that his
about?
parents are
What is it
out
about
there
Santa
looking.
Fe? This is at least two musicals I know that
Yeah.
romanticize Santa
Rent
Fe.
and
Like,
this. I don't know.
why?
Maybe you got
I've
to
been to
go.
Santa Fe. It ain't that great. Just saying. But maybe if you're used to New
Yeah.
York, that's it's like the opposite. So it's like the dream. You got this, you get
Yeah.
that. Got that, you get
I
this.
don't know.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Well,
Continue.
no, you're fine. And so another thing, so that's part in the old one that's changed, and also the Snyder who's after him from the refuge. In the original movie, the whole thing is he was a criminal, he had escaped from the refuge, and Snyder calls him Sullivan. And
Is
they're
a
like,
different
Sullivan, I thought
name.
your name
Yeah.
was Jack. And you end up finding out later that
Francis
Jack had been
Sullivan.
lying about his parents, and it's isn't it his mom's dead and his dad's in prison, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and his name is actually Francis Sullivan and not Jack Kelly, which I was glad they did away with that in the musical. I don't think it really added anything to it. It was that necessary,
No.
and it's not even like they used the name of the actual Newsy kids or anything. So it's like, what?
Right.
It doesn't really add anything else
I
to the
don't know. I
story.
think it was meant to like make it seem like this is the only reason he could get away and be as free as he could for as long as he could is because he
Yeah.
changed his name. But I mean, that kid is out in the streets every day, so
Right.
it wouldn't take that much to find
It
him.
right.
If you're
Right.
really
It
looking for
was
him, you'd find him.
uh, yeah, I was glad with that change, but I'm kind of surprised you because I'll say there's 3 songs from this that are on my musical playlist that I go with regularly. I really like Santa Fe. Um
Mhm.
and then I also really enjoy The World Will Know. Um, the one they sing when they first go on strike,
That's a
and
very like
Watch What Happens.
anthem song.
Yeah.
Watch What Happens
So,
is I can't remember that one. Is
uh,
that
th-
that's the one they sing
it,
before the strike starts, right? I can't remember that one.
um, the
Getting them
I like the
confused.
reprise more, which is when they're trying to get Jack back in after he's kind of checked out after Crutchy gets hurt and everything,
Oh, okay.
and
And is it
Davy
in
and
both
why am
versions or only in the newer one? Because I don't remember
no
that song,
only
but
in the newer one.
yeah,
Um, why am I blanking? What's the girl reporter's name? What's her
her
name? Is it
name
Catherine?
is Catherine Plummer, but really Catherine Pulitzer.
Here it is. Okay.
Plummer is her
I
pseudonym,
okay.
her nom de plume.
Um, I'm gonna send you a picture and I'll insert it
God.
in the YouTube. There is one part. So in the 1992 version,
Mm-hmm.
Snyder catches Jack, and then he takes him to Pulitzer's house in a carriage. And Davy's wanting
Mm-hmm.
to go break him out from the refuge because Jack got sentenced for life, and Davy's sneaking around. And there is one shot where Davy is right by the carriage when they pull up to Pulitzer's house, and it is just he would be seen so easily. It is so obvious, and he's just like right there.
He's like,
And the butler's like,
I'm
I
invisible.
don't know, he's just has a blind eye, but it's just that I'm like, why did you make it so obvious? I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
but
He's
God, that
crawling under
stood
the
out to
carriage and
me.
unhitching the carriage, and nobody's gonna see this guy on a
Hmm.
like bare ass carriage. Like, yeah, of course, you know.
Right,
And he's waiting on
right,
the side of the when Jack comes out. He's like, Jack, run! And Jack's like, okay, and Jack jumps over the
yeah.
stairs and just runs.
And
With
then he
just
goes back though.
no, yeah, well, because he's a sellout.
Yep, he's a sellout.
I appreciate
But
that in the newer one, the the character of Jack Kelly is a lot more I don't know, maybe more vulnerable or more believable. What's the word that I'm thinking of? He's like he's not even really fully into the strike. Like it's his strike, but he's not really like it doesn't take that
right,
much for him to be like, you know what? This ain't working out.
he's
Sorry,
got
kid.
more
Get
aspirations
your beaks.
and
I'm getting out.
different stuff. Like I guess
Well,
the Jack Kelly
it's
in the
not even
original one
aspirations. Yes, he wants
just
to
wants to
leave,
get
but like he just I don't know.
more
Part of it is that he
talent.
doesn't want his friends to go to jail, so he's protecting them, and
Right.
that's the good guy character, right? But also, he kind of just like is a little bit like, maybe I
Yeah.
should just stay away from this so I can get out of here. And
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not mad at it. I like it because that's
Yeah.
life.
In the
Um,
new one they add in that he's an artist too. So like they have his
is that not in
drawings
the
of
old
the
one
refuge. No. And then
at
like he
all?
painted
Oh,
for
interesting.
Meta. Mm-mm.
I,
He
I didn't remember
painted
that.
her like backgrounds, and that's where they find him. He's painting a background for her in the Broadway one, and that's where Davy and Les find him after the Strike
And
Busters break up the first thing, and Crutchy gets taken to the refuge.
poor
Um,
Crutchy.
one
Crutchy's
thing
way
I
more
noticed in the
likable in the second
movie.
one too. He's just
Oh
way more
yeah,
likable.
100%.
The first one, he's like,
Um,
God, I just want to smack that kid.
I don't know if you
Something about his
noticed it.
face.
Oh
What?
yeah. In the original movie, I felt like Christian Bale looked like he was concentrating so hard when he was dancing.
So
Like you
hard.
could tell like that's not
Like that
something
guy
that
is
came
not
as natural.
naturally a
At
dancer.
least that's what I felt like. Like he just seemed like he just most of the
you
time he had his
see it
eyes
on his
down and his face
face,
down. He's just
making a face like,
concentrating so hard. Mhm.
like I got to do all these steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, you've got guys, boys all around him, like doing like pirouettes and like just I was also amazed that they found that many in the movie. There's a lot more. I think they said on like the show is it's a cast, so you got a normal amount, and they
Yeah.
reuse their cast for different parts. You see the same faces. That's acceptable. In the
Right.
movie, you have probably a good like 30 to 40 actual real
Yeah.
kids from the age of anywhere from like 10 to like 19, and they don't reuse them. Some,
Yeah.
like an actual mass of boys who sing well, who
Yep.
dance well, who act pretty well.
Pretty well.
That's amazing to me, especially at the time, like in the
Yeah.
90s, that you find that many like young boys who are going to be willing and able to do these things.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, to be honest, looks like he could be 25 next to these kids who are probably like
Yeah.
14. He looks a lot older than them. But, you got to get your star in. So they made him look
That's
younger,
right.
but not that much younger. It's
How old was
confusing.
he then?
Why are some of those boys are some of them are orphans, right? Some of them are
Yes.
not. And they choose this life. But there was one scene in the old one, the 1990s version, that wasn't in the new one that I found so confusing. Like, why'd you put this in here? It didn't help me at all. It's in the beginning, not in the beginning, in the beginning, when they're right as the nuns are singing to them, like, oh, you
Hmm.
blessed children, Jesus will save you and love you, and here's some coffee. In that scene in the 1990s version, there's a random woman that comes in and is like, Patrick, my son, why did you leave me? I love you. Goodbye. Jesus, take care of my son. And like, that had
Well,
zero merit in the story, except that I
in
guess it's supposed to tell you that not all of these boys are orphans. Some of
yeah,
them
in the
left their home to do this, and some of them still live at home but have to work. Is that what that is?
yeah.
Because it was just so random and you
Yeah,
never saw that woman again.
in the
Why?
intro it said that the Newsies were made out of orphans and runaways and stuff like that. So that was showing the runaways part.
Did nothing for me.
Hmm.
Could do without the despairing mama coming in.
Hmm.
Did nothing.
Yeah.
Um, Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say another song that I liked. I liked the Brooklyn's Here song. It's a shorter song, but
I
when
liked that
Brooklyn
one.
shows up and sing, I like that one
That
too.
one I liked, and I liked the tap dance
Hmm.
scene of King of New York. That song is
Yeah.
fine. It's I like the song. It's good, but the tap dance scene in the 2017 version that didn't exist in the old one, that scene
Right.
was like, holy shit, this is really good. Like,
Yeah.
and I wondered when they were filming it if they're actually wearing tap shoes or if they added in the sound later because those didn't look like tap shoes. It didn't look like they were wearing tap shoes. So I
I don't
wonder
know.
if they actually filmed it on stage wearing regular shoes and then like had them tap it elsewhere and record over it.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. You can catch that. Um, I will say the one thing I was bummed was missing in the Broadway version was the slow mo punch when Jack gets arrested. It's so random in the
So good.
1992 version. Like it is the only slow mo scene in it, but he just gets punched in slow motion and goes flying back and
Off a
lands in the
balcony.
arms of the police officers. Yeah.
And you're like,
So,
this is their moment where you're like, ooh, Jack. The police are like,
mhm,
we've got him. Yes.
mhm.
It is so random. But there's a few of those scenes that are like, really? Did we need
Oh
this?
yeah.
But I respect it. I respect it for what it is.
Yeah.
And I also respected that they added in little scenes. You have to do this, I think, if you're running a good show on stage. You have to add in little mini scenes when the scene changes so that you don't go dark on stage to move the set
Yeah.
around, because they had a lot of set changes and a lot of the cast
Yeah.
members were responsible for moving the set on and off, which is part of the flow of the
Mhm.
show. But if that's happening, it's awesome when they put something in front of you to distract you while it's going on
Right.
in the background. I really appreciate that. Sometimes it's just an extra little 30-second tap dance that we didn't need, but it keeps me
Yeah.
from looking at a dark set. I appreciate that. And I have a
Yeah.
question
I
for
really
you.
liked the set.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought the set was amazing too. The way they set it up with everything written, that was like kind of like it looked like it was
Scaffolding and everything too, yeah.
handwritten up there, and when she was typing, it was being typed up on. I
Mhm.
loved that. I thought that was perfect. Um,
Mhm.
I have a question for you though. In these
Yes.
circumstances, when you have a filmed version of a show,
Mhm.
clearly there's an audience involved,
Mhm.
right? And you get clips of the audience like, oh, it's like, yeah, and they're standing up. But some of those scenes that they shoot that they're recording are like right here on the stage, like and zooming back and forth, like getting close ups of their face and like getting in on the action, zooming in, zooming out, moving all around on stage. Like, are these people signing up for? I'm sitting in the audience for what I know is going to be a recorded session, so there's going to be cameras blocking my view, or do they record this day them doing it on stage with no audience And then they also record the audience from a different showing, and they put the audience from the different showing into the recorded version.
That's my understanding.
The second
I'm
one?
not 100% sure that's what the second one, because I know that's what they did with Hamilton.
Hmm.
Like they filmed one with an audience, and then they filmed another one on the stage where they could have the cameras going around and do
Yeah.
close ups. And so that would be my guess of what they did here, which sounds like a pain in the ass if you're an editor.
Yeah.
But
But also, I would be pissed off
I
if
mean
I
that's what
paid to
they
get to a
did,
show that had cameras
and I'm just
running in front of the characters the whole time.
agreed.
Like, the fuck is this shit?
Agreed. That was
Unless you sign up
one
for that
note
and you
I
get a free
had
showing
too.
or something, and that's what you're going for, like a dress rehearsal type of thing where they're filming it. I would be okay with that
Hmm.
if I knew what I was getting into. But
Let's see if I have it underlined. But one thing I didn't like of this, and my one problem with some of the recorded Broadway shows is you just have a way too enthusiastic live audience. Like they gave a standing ovation, like not at the end and not right at intermission,
yeah,
in the middle of one of the like the break of one of the songs before.
yeah,
I'm like, you don't. I don't know.
that doesn't
Maybe
happen
I
in a
just go to
normal show.
lame audiences. I'm like, that doesn't happen in a normal
No,
show.
unless you know you're being
And
recorded, then you're like
right.
exuberant about this show. I hope
And
that you
that's
get me
one
on
thing for
camera.
like a comedy or whatever. But like
Yeah,
regular show like this, I mean, after each song, like that's normal. Like they have built in like applause,
yeah,
pauses, and breaks and everything like that.
yeah.
Why are you giving a standing ovation?
Sit
Come
down,
on.
sit
You're
down, and
doing
shut
too
up.
much. Do less.
Do less.
Um,
Be better. Do less. I don't know. I feel like I'm that type of person too. That if I went to a show like that and I knew there were cameras roaming around, I would be like, oh wow,
yeah.
oh my gosh, did you see that? That was so good.
Yeah.
Even if it
I
sucked,
think
I'd
like
still
a
be like, whoa, good job, guys.
yeah, that's fair. I
It's
would
probably
too. I
just
think
like
it's a
something that happens to humans when they think they're on camera. But I agree with you.
that's true.
And it just that I hate that was what was bothering me the whole time I was watching it. I was like, are these people getting the back end of a camera operator the entire time they're trying to watch the show? Just some guy squatting behind the camera and zooming around on the stage, like his ass to the
Hmm.
audience. Like that's what was going on. And I just thought maybe they have a way of like
Yep.
meshing the two to look like they're the same, but they're not. And I would believe it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure they do on that because like I said, I know that's what they did with Hamilton. I don't know 100% that's what they did here, but that would be my guess.
Yeah.
Well, because also then you have that with the show, and some of those the camera men are getting very close to those performers, and you don't want to throw them off in front of a live audience. Whereas you could do additional takes and
Yeah, you
whatever
just
you
start the
need
scene over if
on the one
nobody's
there.
there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
I, I I did like in the Broadway one how in Seize the Day they break out the newspapers and they dance on the newspapers and are
I
tearing
loved
it apart. And
that.
that I thought that was a lot of fun.
That choreography was amazing. That was such a cool
Hmm.
little like I've never seen that before. That nice. Like it was a good touch. It
Yeah.
was. They did a couple of things like that where you're like, okay, like you guys put some time and effort into this. There were some,
Yeah.
the other songs that they added in, I think, were especially like they recognized, I think, some of the holes that were in the movie that they were
Hmm.
like, we should probably just put a little more character development in here. Let's add a song. Let's make
Yep.
them do this because it makes a little more sense. And some of the characters had songs. Like Crutchy had a song that I thought was perfect for him. It was a small song, but it was a song.
Yeah.
It's good for him. And
Yep.
I got a lot of respect for people who can cry on demand when they do the same
Yeah.
show probably 500
So many
times.
times.
And they
Yep.
have to be on point every time that they can just, still feel the feels and make those
Yep.
eyes tear up. I think I said that when we were talking about Hamilton's wife,
Yeah.
when their son dies, and she actually sheds a real tear. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, how many real tears
It's
has this woman
impressive.
shed filming
Right.
this scene? Like how
Yeah.
many? So I always think
Yeah.
that makes you top notch Broadway actor for me if you can do that on
Hmm.
on on demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know Jeremy Jordan was going to be in the movie. I mean, in
Mm.
the stage version. So I had the same moment that I had
Surprise.
with Christian Bale with Jeremy Jordan. When I saw him, I was like, "Is that the guy from the last 5 years? That's the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's him. Oh yeah, he's so cute. Oh my god, he's such a good
Mm-hmm.
singer. He's more likable in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not so much of an asshole.
The one thing is, Davy and Les's characters, though, I do feel like their characters are less fleshed out in the Broadway version. Like,
Yeah,
they have more backstory in the movie. Like,
true,
you go to their house with them, with their
true,
parents. Like, Jack has dinner with them and
true.
finds out about their dad being injured and
Mm-hmm.
all that sort of things. Like, they mentioned their dad getting hurt, and because he didn't have a union, nothing to protect him there.
Right.
But their characters are a lot more cut and dry in the musical. You don't spend more time with them. Like, it's clear that Jack is the main character and
Mm-hmm.
really Catherine as the secondary character
Yeah, they
with it,
substituted
instead
a
of
lot of
it
that
being Jack
backstory
and
for
Davy and Les.
Davy and Les for
Mm-hmm.
this new girl character.
Yep.
And David is not as much of a likable character in this one, in the newer one. He's really
No.
like lovable in the movie because he's so like he's emotional and he's vulnerable and he's like actually kind of a sort of the only one that's like down on planet Earth, like
Right.
talking real things. But he's also like loving and caring and compassionate and a realist. I mean, he was just a very likable
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
in the
I
movie.
agree.
And Les was cuter. He was less brazen and like, why is this New York kid talking so loud and so like a so
Dude, the
super
Les in the
aggressive?
Broadway version
It's
is
really
just doing the
aggressive little eight
most
year old
at
kid. Like,
all times.
why?
Like,
Stop.
you focus on him at the times where they're all singing. He's like so aggressive. He's like, wah.
And there's times
Yeah,
when he's just shouting
it's
things.
good
His
for
lines are like
him.
shouted.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, why?
Calm
You're
the fuck
supposed to be
down,
like
little
the
man.
likable little kid who's young and naive and like just got it started and it's like, so
Yeah.
help me out, Jack. Please, lady, can you buy my paper? And then
Yeah.
he's supposed to be likable, and in that one he's just like, dude, you are screaming and you're like a mini
Yeah.
violent terrier right now. I need you to stop,
Yeah. Yeah.
settle down.
Yeah. But
Yeah. Anyway,
this is
I think
actually
that
one of my favorite ones.
really
Like, for filmed Broadway ones, I think this is
okay.
near the
The newer
top
one
for me.
then. You would
Yes,
not
the
say that
newer
the
one.
older one
The
is one of
the
your
old
favorites.
one, like, I only rewatched the old one because it was for this. Like, I don't see
Yeah.
any reason to watch the original one instead of the Broadway one. I think the Broadway one is the superior version of this story, in my
Yeah, even if
opinion.
you take into account that they are different genres and different time
Mm-hmm.
periods, you still are getting a superior story, I think. For me, watching before I watched the newer one, I watched the old one.
Mm-hmm.
I had a day to process. And I think this is a theory of mine, but I think musical movies like that one, like The Newsies, and like West Side Story when it was filmed,
Mm-hmm.
those movies are a big reason why people from our generation and younger than us, older than us, don't like musicals. I think that they don't like them because you see only that side of it. It's really
Yeah.
cheesy. The story is like super predictable, like very like I don't know, by the book, this happened. And then there was an underdog. And then he got lifted up. And then his people were surrounding him. And then life was good, or like the sharks
What
versus the
voice are
jets. Like,
you
da da
doing?
da 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 da. We're fighting in the streets, but we're also dancing ballet. Like, I get why that doesn't make musicals look good.
Yeah.
So when you see that, West Side Story, and then you see this in the
Mm-hmm.
90s, you're like, probably like, I'm done with musicals. They're all like this.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of the problem. It's kind of why people don't really give other musicals a chance. And I think I'm also biased because I prefer
That's
like the more
fair.
modern style than the older
Yeah.
ones.
Well, that's how I am too. Like, it's hard. Like, when I saw Titanic and the musical at the theater, there's an intermission in it in the movie too. There's a 10-minute intermission in the middle of it,
Interesting choice.
which is kind of nice. But there were people behind me that were talking and analyzing it, and I'm like, I'm more of a, this is how I am with most things. I'm more of like a casual fan and watcher. And like with this, it's, I'm talking about the things I enjoy about it. If you want like a deep analysis of, well, they really, the runs in this were great, or the different keys, or the hidden messages in these, like
If you
that's not
want
what
that,
I'm
don't
about.
watch
I'm
this podcast.
Yeah, don't watch this.
This ain't
I'm
for
more
you.
about like, if it can evoke an emotion
Yeah.
from me, um then, and if I can connect with it in some manner, and if there's songs that stick with me, like those are the main things I look for. Like if
Yeah.
there's songs that stick with me, that's why Titanic for me wasn't great. There were no songs that stuck with me.
Yeah.
um
I can
they
see
try to
that.
tell the story of all these different people, but each set of characters have like one song, and it's not
So
enough to
you
get
feel
me to
nothing
care
for
about
them
any of
when they
them.
die in the
Right,
end.
I felt
Spoiler
nothing
alert,
about
they
them.
all die in the end.
Yeah, shocking. Um, but so like that's what, it didn't hook me. And this,
Yeah.
especially the Broadway version, I feel like I really like that it opens up on Santa Fe, whereas in the movie Santa Fe is like at the midway point.
Yeah.
Um, and so I like it opening up with that. I think it's a good introduction to Jack and Crutchy. I think Jeremy Jordan does great on that song. Um, and the reprise later on, especially the reprise later on. The reprise is the one that's on my playlist
Yeah.
of my favorite musical songs. Just the extra added emotion and everything in that rendition. But I think that sets the tone and the pace, and kind of is nice bookends to the show and where it's going in his story. But I don't know.
I
I
agree.
enjoy it.
I think if there wasn't a newer version, I would have just, if we just had the
Yeah.
1990s version, I would have been like, this was a waste of my time. Like I did not feel anything from it. I didn't like any of the music. I didn't connect with any of the characters. I felt
Um,
sorry for a couple of them, but like very vaguely. And I like
yeah.
vaguely hated the bad guy and vaguely liked the good guy. It was just very
Yeah.
blah, very vanilla, like blah. Not
By the
very not
book.
memorable at all.
Right.
And if I hadn't seen the new one, that would have been my opinion. The newer
Yeah.
one, I say new one, it's not new, it's 2017, but the newer version is like a little bit more my style, I think, too. So
Yeah.
it makes more sense that I would feel feelings. And then, and like I said before, it's shot in a different way so that you actually get like a lot more of the emotion that they're feeling. And you've got Jeremy
Yep.
Jordan, who's an amazing actor, singer, carries it. He carries the whole thing on his shoulders, and
Right.
everybody else is supporting him. If it weren't for all of those factors, I don't think I would have liked this. And I don't really care
Yeah.
about the music that much. To be truthful,
Yeah.
I won't probably put any of those songs on my playlist now that I've seen them both.
That's fair.
If I come across them, I'll be like, oh, cool, it's from the Newsies. But yeah, I'm
Hmm.
not going to be jamming to them anytime soon.
That's
Like,
fair.
not my
I
choice, not
get
my
it.
top choice.
I get it. I get
But you know, ain't out here selling papes neither.
it.
I will get that New
That's
York
right.
accent. I will, if it takes me all damn night.
That's your goal.
All right, I think we covered all the Newsies.
Well,
I don't have anything else to say, but do
I would
you?
say I don't really have anything else besides Jeremy Jordan in the "Something to Believe in" song that he sings with
Oh, that's
Catherine,
their
her character
song.
there.
Okay, I did like that
Their
one.
song together.
I did like that one.
There's a part where he goes, "And if I'm gone tomorrow," and the way he sings that is just like
Heart.
showcasing. His voice is so damn good.
So
I'm not going
good.
to attempt to do it. I was going to, but I
No,
would have
please
butchered
do.
it and it would have been
Please.
bad.
I would
No,
like to hear this.
no,
Your following
uh,
would like to hear this.
no, no, they would not. It would be bad. I don't have much of a voice.
What a
I
waste of a
lost it
musical
all at trivia
podcast
on
that
Thursday.
you won't even sing on it.
We discuss musicals. I don't sing them. Then that's, we would have, like, if I sang it, we would lose subscribers on YouTube right now,
Negative
and I don't want that to
subscribers.
happen.
Negative
Negative
53
subscribers.
subscribers.
Yep.
An
So,
extra 53
but
people
yeah,
have said that you suck and they hate you. No, I agree. I agree. That song, I forgot about that one. That one took me by surprise. That I was kind of like, oh
yeah,
shit, because it wasn't in the old one, but obviously.
yeah.
And this one, I was like,
Great addition.
okay, I'm feeling the feels right now, and you know what? I want you guys to be together. I do. I want a happy ending, and I'm feeling it. That song is really pretty though,
Yeah,
and it's very fitting. And he
yeah.
has an
I
amazing
really
voice.
liked it.
She has a great voice too. I've never seen her before, but she has a
Yeah,
great voice.
she does. I hadn't either, but she also was very good.
Mhm.
Okay, I have nothing else. That's all my notes I
Oh,
have
we're
for this.
done.
All right.
So check out the Newsies if you're
Well,
interested. Check out an old version or a new version. We both recommend the newer one, clearly.
mm-hmm.
But if you want a little background, I guess check out the old one. They're both on Disney Plus,
Yep.
and they are worth a watch, even if you're
Agreed.
just for pure curiosity.
Agreed.
Curiosity. It's too late for me to be saying words like that.
Good job.
Let's sign off. Thanks
All right.
for listening, for
Yep.
watching. Subscribe, like, all the things, all the buttons, all the places you can watch and
All of it.
listen. Support us. Let us know what you think. If there's a musical you want us to review or a mini episode you'd like to see us do, let us know. Comment.
Let us know.
And thanks for tuning in. Sign us out, Matt.
All right. Thank you all. Don't forget to go down once more. Later.
Peace. That's a great face that I'm making. That is just like
It's an
hot.
action pose.
It's a what? I can't hear you. Are you talking? I don't know what's
I have
going
different
on.
pictures for your hot face.
Is this one of them? Because I think that counts as my hot face.
No,
That's
it's
fine,
not
right?
the one that does
Just
it for
screen
me.
grab that and put that in every thumbnail.
Yes. Yes.